The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, happy Tuesday. Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for the today webinar. My name is Ling Wang and I'm your host for the webinar today. We are presenting the topic, how to build a future-ready ERP for food manufacturers. The key takeaway for this webinar, you will see here. We are going to share with you how to standardize the processes and eliminate the efficiency amid the labor shortage. We are going to share the tips and tricks on the focus on bidirectional traceability and the product recall. The next thing, the supply chain visibility and requirement planning with fluctuation of the demand. The next where is most important thing, we also want to educate and share among our customers how to an ERP helps you to control the operation with a broad view of what is going on. I will pass it to my colleague, Bernard Wong, who is going to share with you the topics for today.
Hi, morning everyone. Thank you for taking time to join us. I'm seeing the attendees they are building up. Everyone is joining at the moment. If we just take another 3 minutes for everyone to just settle down. If you haven't got your coffee yet, go get some coffee. Right, I will be starting sharp at 10:35. Yeah, if that's all right. Okay, it's already 10:35. Sorry for the slight hold up. Yeah, morning again, everyone. My name is Bernard. I am a solution consultant in Sage. Today I'll be bringing you guys through to how do we really build a future-ready ERP, right? Okay, without further ado, let's begin. Yeah, let me just check on some messages here. Okay. Okay. As all of us can see today, right, there's so many ERP out there, right? And as you look along the ERP roadmaps and ERP offering, there's just users are really being spoiled by choices. But yet at the same time, users are really quite unsure of what ERP has to offer. You see, over the past 2 decades that I've been in this field, a lot of users have come to me with their challenges on really looking out for the right ERP for their organization. In the past, they have very, very common, right? Questions that I've heard in the past is, ERP is just too complex. I know I need one, but what is that? It's just so huge, right? And worst off is that I heard, because it's so complex, some of them even fail in implementing, getting the ERP to go live, right? And is it my people, in my organization, are they really ready for it? Are they really ready to embark in this journey, go through an ERP, right? Will it be too much of work, too hassle for them to really adopt? And it boils down to, how and will this ERP help me, right? How will my investment in my people and really help the organization? You see, over recently, we actually made a presentation to one of our prospects, right? And we are really surprised when the founder of that particular prospect, who is a spice maker, by the way, told us just how much that they see in Sage X3 that they can really adopt to improve their current business processes. Things that they have been doing manually and things that we showcase to them as a standard. Because in their mindset is, oh, for Sage X3 to come into my organization to really help me, I need to do a lot of customization. I need to do a lot of things to have it fit the way that I operate. But to their surprise is 80% of what we offer as a standard is already what they are doing manually. So they can see the 80% gain of efficiency right through when they start using an ERP. So that is why we came up with this roadshows, we came up with these webinars, which is a series of 4 webinars, by the way. I will intro you to the 3 webinars that we have in line later, right? So we really come to, why not we showcase to the F&B world, the F&B industry, what Sage X3 really can offer as a standard and how much this actually cater for them. Okay. So today really is to showcase to you, just because of today, the idea is to just give you an intro, a flavor of X3 offering, right? Today, what we want to really focus on is 3 very, very peculiar challenges that F&B industry actually faces. Be it you are the manufacturer, be it you are the distributor for the F&B, be it you are supplying for some F&B manufacturer, right? These are the 3 very, very peculiar things that is faced by the F&B world. Okay? First thing is planning resources better. You know, supply chain, right, is the most unpredictable thing, and the visibility and the requirement of planning based on the fluctuation of demand and supply is really one of the key highlights that is really posing a very big challenge to the F&B industry right now. Secondly, of course, product recalls, right? These are so common, right? Wherever there is some issues with the ingredients, whether it's some issues with certain byproduct or certain things, the labeling issues, things that could constitute to a product recall. And what we come to understand is some of our F&B customers are actually doing it manually before they actually adopt to Sage X3. So we also want to showcase to you how within the system, with our bidirectional traceability, we are actually able to have all the information right at your fingertips to really help you to manage this portion better as well. And finally is, with the limited resources, how do we eliminate inefficiencies, right? A lot of times we go about hearing that people, it's so hard to get resources now. And actually the resources is so hard to upskill them. and it's so hard, and people are sometimes leaving the organizations, right? I do not have a duplicate, right? I do not have someone that can take over right away. How do I actually make my existing resources more efficient, right? If I'm still doing a lot of manual works, I still require them to do a lot of manual things, right? Instead of having all the data right now, and then from that data, give me a better planning, give me a better analysis. Yeah, I'm really wanting to move into that direction, especially when we know the world is moving so much into AI right now, and everyone is talking about how do we analyze better, how do we plan better, and you heard about the terms that the technology world are coming out with big data, AI, robotics, everything is coming up right now, right? If I'm not doing it, maybe my competitors are doing it. What if they are more efficient than me when planning on my sales demand, when planning on how to focus their resources, how do they plan on the seasonal demands and all those things? If they are doing it, right, and I'm not doing it, I am actually losing out. Those are the things that maybe it plagues the owners, it plagues the management, it plagues those decision makers on where do they spend, right? So these are the things that hopefully by the end of today, after the 1 hour, I can help you to take a look better of how the system are able to help you. Okay. So today, really, the idea is to look in your shoe, your perspective, and let's see how those critical things, right, that I said earlier, right, the 3 critical things, right, how do we do it better with a system? So the first thing is planning resources better, be it a fluctuation in demand, what do you need, right, to really address this better. So first up is in the ERP, especially in X3 right now, this is the standard dashboard that we have, which you can actually plan out, right, what you want to see, right? And this could be the first thing that you see when you log into the system. This is just a sample, all right? I'll go through a lot of samples with you today as well. This is just an idea for you. Let's say the production director or the operation director or the CEO, for example, they walk in. Okay, the first thing I want to see today is how my manufacturing line is doing. So I can actually see what's the average delays, right, per company. If I'm looking at different factories, I'm looking at different delays by the different parts of the world that is producing this. I could also see what the top product, okay, what is my daily output, what's my daily production, right? All these are what we call widgets that you can put. Whatever that is important to you, you are zooming in right away, okay? No longer are we dealt with the reports that the production people send over. Oh, I look at this hard copy of reports, right? I want to see what is really happening there, right? What is and what the report doesn't do, right? The hard copy report doesn't do, right? It doesn't offer you zoom in, right? It doesn't offer you filtering. This one I am able to filter by year, by month, by company that I want to zoom into, or by any filter that I built into this particular dashboard. So that is actually the first thing that actually help in if right, is what we call right now in the IT world actionable insights. So you have all the data, and these are the data that you could actually do something with it, right? What do you focus on, and where is the bottleneck? Yeah, I want to zoom into that. That is what planning with the data is all about. That is what the ERP ultimately helps you to summarize into, right? And of course, for X3, okay, whatever that I've showcased to you today, we actually have multiple templates for it. Okay, let's not forget, if the CFO or the finance director, okay, or the management, right, finance manager. Okay, the KPIs for finance are important to them. what's the gross margin, what's the liquidity ratio, what's the cash to cash cycle, right? What is the profitability, what's the leverage, right? What are all these important KPIs? And again, you can see up here, it will zoom up on the filters of what they want to see, right? These are important, and this is the first thing that they want to see, right? And when they log in as a finance personnel, this is my first thing that I want to see, right? And if you are a sales team, a sales director, for example, we also have the templates for you, right? You want to narrow into your invoice collection, what is the top product performance, what is the sales by product, what is the sales by region, things like that, right? You can actually have this kind of dashboard visible to you. And of course, if you are a marketing CMO or what so not, right? You are focused on, whether my marketing campaign is all there or not. All in all, we have about 250 plus templates like this that you can actually mix and match, right? Whatever KPIs that is important to you, you can actually plug it in, and that will be the first thing that you look into and the first thing that you can zoom right into. And I see a bottleneck there. That is what I want to be working on today. I want to solve this bottleneck. And the best part is, as what I say, compared to your hard copy report, these kind of reports are interactive. These kind of reports are real life. So as when you go along, maybe after lunch hour, I want to see how it has improved, or I want to see how it differs from morning into the afternoon. I can actually open up this again, and as when it happens, right, the system is collecting the data. That is what we call you are working with real life data, right? No longer do I need to go down to the production line or go to the sales team or go to the marketing team and say, hey, I want that report. Can you run the system for me and run the report out and let me see those kind of things? These are all maneuverable within your system, and X3 being a web-based system, you can actually go in here via your laptop, via your tablet, or even via your phone, as long as you have a viable internet connection with your user ID and password. That's all you need, right? Okay. So the other thing I want to show you is how do we plan, right? Like for instance, okay, this is a sample purchase page. What about the end user, right? The operation users. Let's say, okay, when they first log in, you can also, this is what we call a landing page. So as I log in as Bernard Wong today, right, I'm doing a demo, I can actually put in buttons that is important to me, maybe for like this navigation purchase here, like for instance, checking on the supplier is important to me, handling the purchase request is important to me, RFQ is important to me, okay, handling the RFQ, proposing a buyer plan is important to me. Of course, the PO and the purchase receipt is important to me. I can also put in widgets like this one, like order to receive, right? What am I expected to receive today in your calendar, and what is my notification? So on top of having the dashboards, now ERP looks like this. No longer are we so frustrated, right, with giving you everything, and then you need to memorize where to click and where to go into, right? So what we are doing really now is when you log in, the moment that we log into your role, whatever that is important to you can be configured and displayed to you, right? And whatever that needs your attention, what your day-to-day operation, right, that you need to, as a purchaser, I need to check on my order to receive. That is important. I want it to be my screen when I log in, right? So the other thing that we look into is, which we offer as a standard, is within the product management itself, right? There is actually expiration management. These are specifically good for your warehouse, the stock control people. They look into product by batches, right? I want to know, firstly, okay, when I control by batch, my ingredients or my finished goods, right? Of the finished goods, I want to control it by expiration, okay? I want to control it by lead time, right? So that when it's near to the expiration, I will get a notification, right? And on top of that, why we say that we are really geared towards the F&B industry is we also have the recontrol lead time. Okay, this is very, very common in F&B world, is that if I want to recheck on the expiration date, whether I do another QC, say you can see a recontrol status here. So this batch is near to the lead time, okay? Let's say 30 days before it hits expiration. I can actually put this batch into QC, so that when my QC department do a QC, they will decide to extend this batch or not. I can choose to extend that batch's expiration date. I can actually do that as well. And of course, it serves as a notification to me. And lastly, we have this UBD, use before date. And this is exceptionally useful again to control how many days before the lead time is. The use before date is normally earlier than the expiration date. These are exceptionally good when you are actually distributing your product out. Let's say, for example, I have a channel of distributor to help me to distribute my product out to the market. And of course, I do not want to give them a short UBD dates, right, before shipping out to the distributor. I need to know exactly which batch, okay, which have maybe is a standard requirement that have I say 180 days of use before date, right? But they use before date 8. Okay, so I can plan in accordance to the distribution channel, in accordance to the batch of the stock, right? So this is what we say, it makes your planning with stocks better. And the other thing that when I zoom in, some of the attendees that actually sign up for this webinar is they are exceptionally concerned with wastage control, okay, especially your production, right? How do I control my wastage? In X3 as a standard, we have 2 levels for you to control. Firstly is in your recipe itself, you can actually find the scrap, okay? What does a scrap means is basically you can define based on individual recipe, you may have a slightly more scrap that is needed for this particular recipe, right? So that when you define a percentage here, when the system runs through the planning for you, they will plan actually a slightly higher quantity for this particular recipe. So you will know that maybe I have 5% of wastage. So at the planning mode already, when the planning happens to both sides, when you are procuring, when you are purchasing the ingredients in, as well as your planner are planning for the production, right? They both will understand this is needed, okay? The more ingredients are needed, so to control the wastage. So I do not under put in, or I do not put in more, right? Let's say if I only have 5% scrap, right? I don't put in additional 10% in, or I don't put in additional 20%. That will constitute to the more wastage, right? Secondly is within the routing, when you plan for the machine route, okay, which machine it goes to produce, okay, or whether it go to this production line or this production line, we understand that there bound to be some older machines, right, along that maybe production line number 1 is a bit older with the older machine. And what we have is a shrinkage percentage now. Okay, a shrinkage percentage basically helps the planner to know that these older machines are less efficient, okay? They need slightly more time, okay? So on top of planning your wastage on your ingredient, you are also planning your wastage on your capacity, so that the production planner knows that, okay, if I use production line number 1, okay, which is actually have 2 older machines, it may take me maybe longer to produce out the finished goods. So all these are in the fingertips of the planner, so they know, okay, or I go through this, maybe I need another hour to finish, right? I go through production line number 2 with new machines, maybe it will shorten, right? So all these are information telling the planner to even plan better, right? Compared to they need to keep everything on their records right now, or be it in the Excel, or maybe keep a lot of planners do that, right? They keep it in their brain and say, oh, based on experience, this is how many times we need and things like that. Okay. The other thing that we are focused on is insightful buying, right? How do we actually plan the purchases, right? You know, some purchases, right, they deal a lot with RFQs, right? So if you want to supply to my particular company, right, you need to put in your RFQ. I need to source for 3 suppliers. Okay, so what X3 RFQ listing does is on top of we having a portal for you directly to communicate with your supplier, it helps that we have the date control and we have eligibility control based on category and certification. So I can actually zoom in to when is my RFQ available. So I'm available for these 2 months only. If this supplier is eligible, it has to be they are from this category with the correct certification, right? Especially now we talk about when you're in the F&B, you are into halal, maybe kosher in the other parts of the world, right? The requirement for certification and whether you are actually certified, right? Later, I will go into the validity of the certification as well. Okay, so with this, actually, the purchaser, when they send out the RFQ, they are able to categorize it and only send to those with eligibility. Supplier response, they will actually respond based on whatever they can offer, and based on that, the first filtering by the purchaser already. So the system will actually capture the supplier response, do a comparison analysis, and suppliers are free to attach also. Okay, and finally, of course, awarding the supplier, you can actually award the supplier based on the comparison done in the system, right? So finally, of course, it will, once you award, it will generate a PO to the supplier. Okay, so in X3, we actually have this portal for you. We call it e-procurement portal. Basically, is a portal for you to interact better with your supplier. And it actually helps your purchaser to plan even better with this. Okay. This is just a sample of a report. Okay, so a very simple one. Of course, this is just comparing ABC Holding with BY Holdings, right? What are the deliveries? What is the unit price? What is the amount? This is just a sample that we have done now. Okay, based on that. And of course, if you come to me and say, Bernard, if I want a more detailed analysis, can it be done? Yes, of course, with all the data in place, it can be done via that way, and we can actually retrieve out in a dashboard format for the purchaser to see it the first time when they log into the system. Okay. And just in a nutshell, okay, just to recap the first point, planning resources better, we are actually covering what we are trying to cover is, firstly, the management can look at things holistically, okay, acting based on insights, okay. So no longer do they need to go department by department or they need to walk to the managers to say, hey, run the system for me and let me see the report and things like that, or print the report out for me lunchtime, right? Let me look at it, right? They can actually
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but your speaker audio is not is breaking, so you might want to connect your earpiece or anything.
I'm not sorry. You can't hear me
breaking.
clearly, is it?
Yes, it's kind of breaking, so you might want to tune.
Okay, what about now?
Yes, it does. It's okay now.
Now better?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, so I'll just recap that. So the managers, right, now they can look at the holistic picture, right? And the best part is they don't even need to be in the office to be connected to the system. They can actually look at while they are waiting for a business flight, okay, or while they are in a cafe, right, waiting for the next appointment, they can actually whip out their tablets, right, and look at the dashboards and actually plan from there, and then just make a call or make a connection to the operation people to act on what they are seeing, what bottleneck they are seeing. Okay, the stocks, the management of the wastage, the management of the efficiency, the management of the expiration actually helps to maximize usage as per the lifespan of that particular ingredients, of the particular finished good to be distributed, as well as minimizing the wastage that's constitute. And finally, of course, procurement team, they are sourcing right and at the right time. There's an interactive portal for them to actually communicate with their supplier and proactively acting on the RFQs, right? And only selecting the correct field to work with, right? Second thing is, this is something that is very close to heart to any manufacturer or distributor, is when you do a product recalls, right? So what actually constitutes to a product recalls? Okay, there are actually two major things that constitute to a product recall. One that we are very familiar with is the food safety recall, right? When there's a high concentration of substance that is unsuitable for consumption, that constitute a food safety recalls, right? Every part of the world. So you will hear salmonella virus threat, whether there's a flooded area, right, in northern part of Malaysia, for example, then maybe some ingredients like eggs, for example, it can have that tainted consumption. So you'll be more careful with that, right? The other one is the food allergy recalls, right? Food allergy recalls could be information about the allergen, right? Whether your product contains nuts, contains wheat, contains eggs, right? That is not labeled correctly. So it may be a missing label. It could actually constitute a food allergy recalls also. So how does actually X3 helps in both, right? Firstly is for X3, right? Really, when you do a food recall, right? What X3 helps is it's a single system with different legislation in different countries that you can set up. Okay, I'm in Vietnam, I could have a distribution arm in Thailand, I could have a distribution arm in Malaysia, or I could have a distribution arm in China. Regardless, right? It will be a single system. So what X3 helps is with this single system, it helps the impact regulation changes, right, to different legislation with different countries. You set it in the system, configure it in the system, and you do the necessary tracking based on that. Okay. Second is, how do we maintain up-to-minute visibility? So X3, as I will showcase to you later, our bidirectional traceability, you will trace to the sources that is done within minutes in the system. Okay. Then, of course, if you handle any product recalls before or food recalls before, you have to be totally transparent, right? You have to be able to have all this information at your fingertips and communicate to your customer and handle the full recall while you are in control of the situation. So the recall team have to create information dashboard and to reports to better inform the community as the customer, right? And of course, the whole idea is to reduce the risk and impact of this recall. You have to know exactly which are the impacted batch and the stock statuses, and isolate this batch as quickly as possible so that you can do QC on it, broadcast that QC, okay, or broadcast that result, and be acting on it as quickly as possible. So this ultimately will help you gain confidence from your consumer that you are acting on that particular recalls or you're acting on this problematic issue very quickly. And lastly, of course, have an emergency ready crisis management plan. Okay? And how X3, while keeping all this information for you, right, and helping you to derive into this data as quickly as possible, it helps you to determine the severity, put try and tested plan into it, and report to the relevant authority, and finally publish everything to the public, especially your customer, as quickly as possible. That's the idea. Okay, so let me just show you. Okay, I will show you firstly how allergen is controlled in the system. Okay, within your recipe management, okay, when you define your recipe, we have this thing called we have this thing called allergen roll up, right? That can actually help you to roll up the allergen and clearly define what are the allergens within this particular recipe. Clearly understand the roll up date as well. Okay, when is the allergen roll up? Whether this particular recipe is maybe as the planner or the one that define the recipe, right? I have actually add in another ingredient in there and I have to roll it up. Okay, so I will be up to date and I am printing my label in accordance to the roll update, which is important because certain food security requires you to act on differently. So I will have to know when is this effective. Okay, that's the first thing. And secondly is phasing from sources to delivery. Okay, for this I will actually showcase to you the system, how we actually do a bidirectional traceability, our backward and forward traceability, so that you will able to know from your source right through to your delivery, how does the traceability are being done in the system. Okay, this one for a while and I'll move to the system. So this is X3 screen. Sorry, can I just check with you, Lynn, or are you seeing the X3 screen now?
Yes, the login screen.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, just give me a minute. So I into X3. Okay, this is how you log in. Nothing fancy about that, username, password, and you will see it's based on a URL. Okay, so these are some of the things. I could be things I just recall. I could be a chief financial officer. I could be someone that is looking at logistics. Okay, so all these are actually what we call visual process that you can actually help you to streamline and configure how you want the landing page for specific roles to be like. Okay, so let me just go back. Okay, let's say I want to really do a traceability on one of my ingredients, right? Let's say I want to do it via this flour that I'm using, right? I can just go to this particular flour and I say stock by site, right? I go and say, okay, maybe I have different sites, right? I have different company, I have different factory that actually uses the flour, right? So let's say I zoom into one specific company called NA021, okay, which is a food product. And I looked into this particular flour. It is with this factory of maybe company in North America, for example. I looked into the lots, right? I know specifically which particular batch or lot that is problematic. So I can actually zoom into this one.
Bernard,
right?
muffled.
Yeah.
There's a muffled sound.
Okay.
Yes, muffled sound.
Okay, I'm breaking again, is it?
Yes.
Okay, now better?
All good.
Okay, okay. Sorry, maybe the connection here is a bit bad. Okay, so as when the lot here, I can actually say traceability, right? I want to trace this lot. And automatically you can see I can trace either backward or forward. What does backward means? Okay, so backwards is I can actually trace this particular batch, okay, where does I receive it, okay, whom do I receive it from, okay, this particular organic whole wheat flour, and whether I have run certain QC on this when I'm receiving, okay, so I can see my work order issue as well as when it goes into the production line. So when I actually go into forwards, okay, again, I display cell. So it will actually tells me after this particular organic wheat flour is made into a cinnamon raisin bread mix, even track, okay. So I use the flour, I make it into the raisin bread mix already. Okay, if I have any customer delivery, it will tell me to which customer that I deliver this to. Okay, so I am tracing by this lot and that specific flour. If it's problematic, when I do a recall, I will be contacting that supplier as well as that customer. Okay, so the traceability is a standard tool, which is also very, very powerful to actually help you to narrow down to the problematic batch, problematic lot, right, to which party that it has been sent out to as well. And all the QC tests that you have done is also locked into the system. Okay, so I move back to the okay, all good. All right, so after looking at X3, okay, so today is really just to give you a flavor of what X3 is all about. Of course, idea of doing this traceability is at the end of the day, we want to avoid problem escalation, right? So for us, is really the finance team will look at the financial losses, right? So X3 actually help to minimize the time needed to analyze the impact as well as going to the source of the problems quickly, okay? Making a crisis response as efficient as possible. Of course, the operation team will look at the disruption in the operation, okay? So X3 actually helps in giving you the dashboards, giving you the traceability and all the information needed to react on it and quickly take out the batch and actually do a quick QC on it and publish and let the public know about the problematic and how you plan to solve it, and maybe it's a recall for the public as well. Okay, and finally, of course, the sales team or the front-facing team, they want to minimize the drop in consumer confidence as much as possible. Okay, and this can only help when you are able to react and get back to them as quickly as possible, right? To minimize this. And of course, ultimately, to have a system is to give you the knowledge of knowing exactly where is the problematic ingredient, where does it come from, and how are they farmed, and how does it made into different source, different products altogether, different byproduct or different finished goods, and where do they actually, in whose hand do they actually land, right? So the other thing I want to talk about is efficiency, right? At the end of the day, having a system, how amid that labor shortage, how do we actually address this? Okay. For starters, like I said just now, the different layout that you can configure, be it a purchase layout or be it a production layout, you can actually configure into the steps that actually mimic the business process of the users. So I use these steps all the time, right? So I'm using these steps to actually, what are the steps that is important for me to do my job, right? So I will use that steps so that I can go in accordance to that, right? So it's a day-to-day job. The idea of this is really the user, so that they would not be afraid. Remember, I was saying earlier how people can adopt to the user. How is it my people can adopt to the ERP world. So the idea is really to make it simple and easy for the users, so that, oh, if Miss Purchaser, you are using 4 steps today, this is the 4 step that I'm going to configure to your screen, so that when you click, it will go to the features that you need. Okay, you do not need to find everything through the manual or through the whole list of options available in the system. Okay, and lastly, also, when you need to roll out certain things, let's say the IT or the management decided to tell, oh, for production team or for purchaser, before you buy in this stock, please check on another report that tells you the availability of this ingredient first, so that you do not over purchase, for example. Okay, so I can actually, before the steps of purchase order, I can actually have another steps in place. The IT can configure this and put in a report there and tells the user, oh, click on this first, right? And they will check through the report. So I do not need to spend time to send people over to think, oh, this is where you click, this is where you go into, right? And there is where you find the report. I do not need to go through all the hassle or retraining. If I need to roll out certain new procedure, I can actually map it to their process flow that they will see the first thing when they log into the system. Okay, and the right supplier buying efficiently, like showcased just now, the supplier portal is a way for you to interact with your particular supplier. So the idea is the supplier can register to this portal by their criteria. What are they supplying? What are the category? What are the certs that they have? Okay, so the RFQ, like I said just now, the eligibility are based on the criteria that they set. It could be conditions such as how they deal with you, the categories that they are selling, what categories, what regions, what certificate that they have. Okay, and untimely, the invitation will be based on this criteria that they have put in. Okay, and of course, the supplier can always go to the portal to update their information, and these are based on the configuration by yourself, whether what you allow them to update back to inform the purchasing team, the procurement team, about what is being updated as well. Finally, the notification on the invitation, whether they are successful, they will get a notification from the system to their email, the supplier. Okay. So working with valid certificate, in certain requirement of the governing body, especially in halal, the certificate are basically very, very important. Okay, you need to work with a supplier that has valid certificate. Okay, whether it's a logistic partner, whether it's a supplier that supply you ingredients, you need to be informed that they have valid certificate for you, right? So for X3 with the portal, they can update their certificate, and the certificate comes with the expiration control. Okay, so the RQ and tender eligibility again can work on based on the validity of the certification. So if you do not have a valid certificate, the system will filter out those suppliers for you. So for the procurement team, right, they are more efficient because they are not tracking this manually anymore. They're using the system, and basically from the system in that screen itself, they know exactly which supplier to invite for the RFQs, right? So this is when you are working external with external party, right? So all in all, and lastly, of course, when you take a step back, when you are producing the thing, okay, we will also actually help you to manage your production better. Okay, this is actually an additional add-on that once you have the production planning ready with all your booms and all the, remember just now I was talking a little bit about the efficiency of the older machines and things. When you have all those things in place, what the planner can do next step is they have this what we call a planning dashboard to actually plan the capacity, right? How do you produce more efficiently with the existing capacity that you have? So this is a dashboard that tells you in real time for the planner to look at which particular those are in greens are the work order that I have on time. Okay, I'm producing on time. Those are in red. Of course, this is simulation purpose. Those are in red. I need to move it somewhere because we are running out of time. Those are in yellow. I need to take care. Okay, the dashboard allows the user to plan this one, and it also allows user to planner to actually slot in those ad hoc order that you might have. I will slot in one order here, one big order here, and I'll see what is the impact of my whole planning, right? These are the planning before it even hits your production floor, okay? Before it hits your planning floor, you already know, okay, whether this is feasible for you with your existing capacity. So you can plan, oh, maybe I need to add additional production line. Maybe I need to add additional hours, have people work on more shifts based on this capacity to achieve this. All these are actually things that what I know the production people are doing it, right? But they are doing it manually. It could be via a whiteboard. It could be via some Excel, right, that they use. But the system actually gives you the option to actually plan this interactively in system with a real-time data updating. Okay. So all in all, the last point that I want to bring forward is ultimately how the system really helps is have the same amount of resources, have the same amount of, but they are working more efficiently. They are actually analyzing the data and giving a more insightful decision or giving a more insightful solutions, right? Rather than they are spending time updating manually here and there, right? So the idea is really threefold, right? Internally, the procuring team are sourcing from the best supplier with the best offering, right? Externally, the supplier are liaising, right, via the portal. They no longer need to update via the phone or update via whatever information that they have, they are updating into the portal, and it will get reflected back to the right with the system and all those things are. And in terms of capacity, right, you are optimizing the capacity, the machines, and all those things with an interactive dashboard that, right, you are basically planning in accordance to that. And the dashboard actually highlights to you right on the go what is you need to take care of, what is you're already late, what is still working fine. And you can also, as the planner, do some planning. Okay, I can slot in this ad hoc order and see what will impact. How does it impact the whole planning, whole capacity, those kind of things, right? So ultimately, like I said at the very beginning, right? How the system really helps is as the management, okay, they have actionable insight instantly, okay, regardless where they are, okay, they can connect to the system and have this real time, and they can filter, slice and dice if info is needed, use the system anywhere, and do not worry about expanding with the system. So if you have operation only in Malaysia now, for example, you can expand it to Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, regardless, it will still be using the same system, okay? All they need to do is plug in the legislation, the statutory requirement, okay, the tax, okay, the different kind of input that they need in different countries, that's all, okay? And the plug-in legislation actually take care of all of that, okay? And in terms of operation, okay, what I've showcased today is really tracing the sources, right? You are having bidirectional traceability, okay? You are working with info with other departments based on the sales department, right? You are based on the procuring department, okay? And we have specific features for the F&B, okay? Like the bidirectional traceability is one, like different dates that you control your expiry. Okay? In terms of IT, okay, the governance and integration, you'll be working with one single system alone with single database access. Okay, so data management become easier. It become easier. That's why we are able to do dashboards with different companies, right? With different slice and dice to different financial years. Okay, in terms of security and operation, what we want to put across is ultimately it will be a single system with a single database that you are actually handling orders. Okay. And in terms of finance and production, right? Again, we heard about this term quite often, single source of truth. When you have a ERP, from there you derive insightful analytics. No longer do I need my accounting system is reporting a different figure, my manual production figure, or my supply chain system is reporting different figures. One single system, single source of truth, insightful analytics, ad hoc management analysis. I can, like I said, you can use all the widgets on all the 250 templates we have, right? And it's a step-by-step flow in the system for all departments. I can actually configure to procurement team, for sales team, for marketing team, for finance team. What are the steps that you need to do your job today? So those are the things that I'm re-implementing. So I will configure as closely as possible to your current role. So when you go in the system, you do not need to figure or think where to click to get the correct features, to get the correct report. Collaboration. So the idea of having this is all collaborating together, all the department. The ease of planning in terms of externally with the supplier or internally via the procuring team, via the production team, the planning of the resources, the traceability and all those things. And you monitor the fulfillment based on the interactive dashboards the planner have. I know when I can achieve certain delivery on a certain dates, right? And all in all, with e-procurement, like I told you, the portal that helps your dealing with supplier, the web scheduling, the dashboard that helps planner make real-time planning. Okay, no longer are they based on the data collected and then put it out to Excel to plan it, but really these are planning as it goes. And actually do what if analysis. I put in an ad hoc order that, and what does that happen? Okay. And okay, I have 1 minute left. Okay, I will really zoom into details like the upcoming, okay, like 10th of August, which is about 1 month from now. Okay, we will have the sales automation and okay, this is talking about how do you manage your general trades, modern trades, and online commerce. Okay, our add-on partners. So what can you do after? Okay, with all these add-ons, after you have an ERP of Sage X3, what can you plug in to even enhance your system more? This is what we call a front-end module to help you to manage all this better. Okay, stay tuned on that. And coming on 13th of September, we have another plugin that helps you even more on your product specification, your quality control, how do you tie the lot traceability and stuff. So with how the plugin even stronger. Okay. And finally, on 20th of September, we are wrapping up the webinar in the series of 4 webinars, is connecting to marketplace, right? How do you actually connect to Shopee, TikTok, Lazada? If this, you have a different way of selling, marketing your product, how do you use a single system to actually connect to your front marketplace back to your ERP, which a lot of people are doing manually right now. So how do we go about that? So we have a 1 hour talk on that as well. So with that, actually, I would like to thank you for, I hope that I give you some insights of how X3 helps and in the typical challenges of the F&B industry. And of course, X3 can do so much more, right? Cater to your respective organization. What we really hope that the next step is really to go in. If you give us an opportunity to go in and do a discovery with your team to really understand where the challenges, where the vision is, and how do you want to bring forward your organization, right? So the idea is really to showcase you a more targeted demonstration so that you will see with your very own eye, hey, this is how we can do things better. Okay, so feel free to contact your invitees, right? The people that invite you to this webinar, right? If you're interested to know more or us to come in and discover more, then we can arrange for a more targeted presentation. Okay, so I'm short over by 1 minute. Thank you for bearing with me for 1 hour. Okay, so thank you so much for your time. So I'll end the presentation now. So yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, just one last bit. Feel free to also answer the questions. Okay, let us know what are the typical challenges that you like to address. What are the things that you like to look into in an ERP? You can just answer the questions as when you exit. There's a survey that pops out. There's some questions. Let us know, right? So that we can address and together with you discover some solution. Thanks a lot. Yeah, so
thank you so much.